Oh boy, so this is a big one because of the severity of the issues. Alright, we all know what happened with Charlie Kirk. I've been covering it now for 2 videos before this one, showing you an exhausting list of game developers that are openly celebrating that the man was ended, which has now led to public outcry that these game studios must remove these game developers for advocating for political violence. There's really no other way of putting it. I will get into how the game industry has responded to that, but first we have to talk about the other huge massive elephant in the room right now, which is Tim Sweeney. So if you somehow don't know who he is, Tim Sweeney is the CEO of Epic Games, the makers of Fortnite. And they also created and licensed out the Unreal Engine. You know, this engine has been used for so many games, it would be a waste of time to honestly list them all because there's so many that use it. But I guess the most recent example of Unreal Engine is probably Borderlands 4 if you want an example. But anyways, Tim is a juggernaut in the games industry. He's a leading pioneer when it comes to forward thinking in games. He has also helped shape the monolith that has made video games the biggest entertainment in the world today. I am not in any way denying how important Tim Sweeney is to the very fabric of video games as a medium. However, it has come to my attention that Tim Sweeney has decided to throw his hat into the ring when it comes to Charlie Kirk. And it not only shows the hubris, but the lack of understanding that Tim seems to have on this situation. But please, do not harass Tim, do not dox him, do not attack him, don't do anything like that. However, I do want to discuss what he is saying and then try to come to an understanding here, because obviously, when you're the CEO of freaking Epic Games of all things, this is, well, not really good. But let's get into it. So Clemson University recently had to apologize after one of their professors decided to celebrate Charlie Kirk, passing away. And then Alan Wilson, who is a politician, pressured Clemson University about this, as you can see here on screen, that what was said by this professor was supporting political violence. Then, as seen here as well, Clemson University then made a public statement signifying that they are looking into this matter personally, and that they are deeply horrified by what one of their professors said about all of this. Okay, now that that's set up, this is when Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, comes into the picture. Tim would then reply to Clemson University by saying this: "What amendment says you can't diss someone?" Not seeing it here, and as it reads, the First Amendment, as he put on screen, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, of abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." So basically, Tim Sweeney believes that Clemson University is in the wrong, and that what the professor said about Charlie Kirk actually falls within the Constitution because you are allowed to, in Tim's words, diss someone. Tim obviously has been getting blowback from this and then responded by saying this: "My tweet isn't some veiled partisan political commentary. Clemson's statement is simply wrong about the Constitution, and a public university should know better. The Constitution and the right to vigorously criticize is supposed to be the constant through these times." While what Tim says is true that consistency is important, it's also clear that he has failed to understand the applied reasoning behind why what people are saying about Charlie differs from what he's saying. Let's say that Charlie died as in his sleep with no outside actions, okay? He just died naturally. If you were to say Charlie dying was good, it would be looked down upon, of course, but perhaps wouldn't be grounds to fire someone. Because you can, as Tim says, diss someone, I guess, in America. After all, when celebrities die, people tend to voice their opinions on what they thought about those celebrities too. However, it's the context in which happened that really matters. Obviously, Charlie did not die peacefully. He was assassinated. That is very abundantly clear now, which means that his death was not in fact something natural. It was quite literally akin to Abraham Lincoln or Gandhi being assassinated as well, which is that it was not natural but driven by political means and was a result of extremist beliefs. This means that Charlie Kirk's death does not in fact fall under the First Amendment because the man did not just die suddenly. He was literally, taken out over political beliefs. Therefore, what Tim Sweeney is pushing does not really track here. He did have more to say, however, which reads, "Clemson is a public university governed by the First Amendment. See the link below. At any rate, my criticism isn't of Clemson's employment policy, but that they claim wrongly that the Constitution doesn't protect speech that undermines dignity." Again, like I said, Tim Sweeney clearly fails to understand the difference between these things. For For example, you can comment on bad things that have happened in the world. However, we all know you are not free from the consequences if you were to see, let's say, a bus full of children, pass away in an accident. And then if some guy goes, good, they had it coming or something like that, that would cross a line. But as also seen here, Tim is also panicking and trying to retweet what he has said in the past on free speech to protect himself from the inevitable onslaught of comments coming his way by saying all of this whether you like or dislike that it is all free speech. But it is also very hypocritical of Tim Sweeney to say, considering his position as CEO of Epic Games, especially because his company obviously runs Fortnite, for example. And a very quick Google search on Fortnite will tell you this. Here's what Fortnite's hateful conduct says, which Epic Games enforces themselves, as it reads. Fortnite's Epic Games content guidelines and Battle Royale code of conduct prohibit hateful conduct, which includes using language or creating content that attacks or demeans any group based on characteristics like race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, religion, disability, national origin, or age. This covers harmful stereotypes, slurs, dehumanization, violent threats, incitement to violence, that's important, and hateful imagery, ensuring a respectful and safe environment for all players. So, this means by Tim Sweeney's own company's guidelines that if I were to log into Fortnite right now and start spamming their chat saying Charlie Kirk had it coming or something like that, okay, that I would technically have my Epic Games account then banned. That would absolutely 100% happen based on their guidelines. Or if I used Fortnite systems to make my own level that people could play, where I place a character in a chair with an audience of like NPC characters, and then you as the player have to snipe the person that's sitting in the chair, which would be a one-to-one recreation of what happened to Charlie Kirk in real life, we all know that that level that I would create theoretically would then absolutely be banned and removed from the game, and I would have my account terminated too, right? We can agree on that? We can agree, right, that this would not be allowed in Fortnite. Then why would the comments of people in professional environments, much like Fortnite and Epic Games, then be allowed to have their opinions that a man assassinated due to political violence be protected by a constitutional law like this then? You can't say that the First Amendment protects people from celebrating political violence when your own game systems and content that you operate yourself would not allow for similar things to be said. One user in the responses to Tim, I won't show it, but basically they said by Tim's definition that they should be allowed to say the N-word then in Fortnite without repercussion, despite not being black themselves due to the First Amendment. Of course, if they did that, they would be banned for hateful rhetoric and all of that. We all know this, which directly then proves that Tim Sweeney is instead operating within a rules for thee but not for me and the people I agree with. And this then muddies and complicates the waters further because Tim, like I said, is the freaking CEO of Epic Games, for crying out loud. Billions of dollars are funneled through Epic yearly. So many game studios use Unreal Engine, which Tim openly benefits from both financially and situationally through these game companies using his company's systems that he obviously helped design. So why would someone such as him, who would have intrinsic knowledge on what can and cannot be allowed, especially through content moderation on a platform, be suddenly taking a stance like this that only proves to me anyways that Tim, dear viewers, is completely lost in the sauce and doesn't know what he's talking about anymore. But Tim Sweeney did have more to say, so let's read that now. Harsh criticism is exactly what the First Amendment exists to protect. If after 4 years of public universities ostracizing Republican professors for unpopular lawful speech, we get 4 years of universities ostracizing Democrats for unpopular lawful speech, what progress is that, Tim? You're confusing the two, and you know that. Republicans were ostracized for questioning the situations of the world and the laws being pushed on the citizens during, say, the COVID pandemics and more. People were questioning vaccines and how it was unconstitutional to force employees by their employers to then get vaccinated against something to then stay employed at those companies. You cannot compare the right to one's bodily autonomy, which is neither hateful nor racist, to the comparison of people in professional roles outright demanding for more political violence and death against those that they disagree with simply for political reasons. I know what you're trying to say, but this square peg does not fit into this round hole, Tim, and you should know better. I'm not calling for you to be fired or resign or anything like that. I don't hate you, but you need to understand the difference here. It is also hypocritical for you, Tim, as the CEO of Epic Games, to be pushing this sort of whataboutism, if you will, when your own company does not allow political speech within your own games. How do I know this? Here's what your own company says when it comes to criticizing a country like China within your games, as it reads here. Criticizing China in Fortnite chat is not possible because the game's developer Epic Games has established rules against political speech, especially regarding China. Doing so can lead to an account ban, and specific phrases related to the country's government are censored. Wow, imagine that, Tim. The very gaming company you operate does not allow for political speeches or so-called hateful rhetoric of China in your own games. And this is equally stupid because you also cannot say anything about anyone's race or gender in Fortnite also without receiving an account ban. But then why are those bad things to say in Fortnite, Tim, then? I thought those opinions which are used to diss someone, as you said yourself in your own tweets, about Charlie Kirk and Clemson University are not suddenly allowed on your platform too. So why would the call for more political violence be somehow labeled as less offensive or downright allowed to be said or tolerated in the United States of America, which you operate within? You are simply being a hypocrite, and you know this. Maybe you don't know this. I don't know. But I would wager a man of your standing is definitely smarter than this. You cannot use your speech to call for the deaths of other people. That is quite literally a threat under any law, even your own company. You cannot sit there on Twitter or Fortnite or PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, Steam, you name it, whatever it is, and say, I don't like these people, therefore anyone who thinks like this should be eliminated permanently from the face of the earth. You know this. I am actually astounded that you're defending this, to be honest with you, because this is not constitutional. And advocating for gun laws to be enforced following Charlie Kirk's death is not grounds for termination. Yes, that is protected by free speech. But anyone, like many game developers have, which I've showed in my last 2 videos alone, that have been laughing and said that they hope Elon Musk is next or whoever else. Yes, that is under law considered a call for political violence and violates American law. Again, the only way this would be okay is if, Tim, if you allowed Fortnite or anything, I guess, sold on Epic Games Store to then allow people to say anything they want from the most out-of-pocket, vulgar comments possible and not ban them. But we both know people can't do that on your platform, so what are you even saying? You're so out of your depth here, and it was probably best that you just said nothing at all, if I'm being totally honest with you. Because as we've seen with many other games, Ghost of Yotei comes to mind most recently, that people who work at game studios on commercial products advocating for political violence can and will lead to boycotts of their products in the future. Do you really want a mass exodus or protest against Fortnite or Epic Games Store as a whole because you want to die on this hill specifically, where you gain nothing from it but just show the world how out of touch you're being here? Do you really want to do that? I'm being straight with you, by the way. If you do, fine, I guess that's your prerogative, but you're then putting the livelihoods of thousands of developers by association who obviously rely on your network and sustaining itself to pay their bills and help their families. Like, this is just beyond moronic coming from you, and I hope that you learned something today. And again, I don't hate you, I don't want to boycott you, I don't want to have you resign, but you need to understand this, dude. But unfortunately, the game's media hasn't, so let's get into part 2 of this video now. Oh boy, here we go. So you all know the Ghost of Yotei situation. Well, now the game's journalists are trying to spin the story that the dev, Drew Harrison, was wrongfully terminated from Sucker Punch. Here's the Kotaku article titled, Ghost of Yotei dev fired for Charlie Kirk joke after right-wing pressure campaign. And look at the subline there, which reads, Gamergate 2.0 is looking to cancel people in the wake of the assassination. Oh, really now, Kotaku? So this is a Gamergate thing now. That's what you're rolling with? We're doing this? I mean, no one else has said that but you. You think you hate gaming journalism, but you really don't hate it enough, do you? These people are such liars, man. Look at how Kotaku opens their article, as it reads here. A contingent of right-wing online figures and their followers have been using the recent assassination of conservative podcaster Charlie Kirk to punish people they don't like. That includes a developer at Ghost of Yotei maker Sucker Punch Productions, who Sony confirms it has parted ways with after she made a joke on social media about the shooting. It wasn't a joke, Kotaku. You know this. They were outright celebrating the death of an innocent man. The fact that you're trying to convey this in a sense that it was a joke proves how disingenuous of a publication you guys really are over there. As Kotaku states here, Sony confirmed her departure in an email to Kotaku but declined to comment further. Drew Harrison is no longer an employee of Sucker Punch Productions, a spokesperson from Sony Interactive Entertainment wrote. They should comment further though, honestly, because people can tell this was a Sony decision, not a Sucker Punch one, which means that people will likely still boycott the game either way until they, I mean Sucker Punch, apologize themselves publicly. Kotaku would then say this, as it reads, Ghost of Yotei is far from the only high-profile blockbuster game to be dragged into this culture war quicksand. They then label Grums and others attacked Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Shadows as well for featuring an African samurai as one of its two main characters. Developers on the game were reportedly told not to comment on the harassment campaign when the game launched earlier this year. Yeah, because Shadows was propaganda. They forced leftist Western ideology into a foreign country's time period to push their politics within a time frame where such concepts did not exist, and Yasuke to this day makes no sense being in that game whatsoever. I mean, I covered Shadows extensively on the channel already. I played the game myself. I showed you guys everything that went on in that game already. How they unironically have a scene where Akechi Mitsuhide sits on his knees in front of an audience with Yasuke defeating him and declaring that Yasuke is the greatest swordsman in Japan, a guy who has only been in Japan for 10 months at the point of that scene happening in game, by the way. When in actual real-life history, Akechi Mitsuhide captured Yasuke, who was not a samurai or fought in any battles according to real historical data, and then simply gave Yasuke back to his Jesuit owners, and then Yasuke was never heard from again in history. Yet they warped the history of Japan simply in order to tell their, for lack of a better word, woke story in a place where they had no business doing it. So it's kind of hilarious that Kotaku was like this, that they bring these things up thinking that they have something. All you're proving is that your way of thinking is being rejected and that it's not working, because it's based on lies being perpetuated by people who routinely ignore the real truths of the world. Why you people do this is clear. It's all politically aligned and pushed on purpose. People don't want your stupid slop far left ideology in their video games. They just want video games to be fun escapism. I don't even want far right or conservative beliefs in games either. If I'm playing a game that is set in feudal Japan, for God's sakes, I want that game to be adhering to the politics and laws of what that culture was like at that time, which was honor-bound, dangerously loyal to a fault, and very lethal to people that broke the law. But what you got instead was the modern-day college version of Assassin's Creed Shadows, where everyone is gay or bi, and Japanese people are getting torn in half by a black guy who did literally nothing but get captured again, and then was never heard of again in history. So amazing how you fools are trying to label anyone as bigots when the only bigots here are really you and your own kind. Saying that Drew Harrison a sucker punch and the whole Ghost of Yotei thing was a joke is not true. You didn't even show her follow-up tweets where she said that she was pushing back against fascism. Those are her words, not mine. When it isn't fascism, she is, just like many others who think like her people who believe political violence is a good thing because it benefits their side to do that. Then Elon Musk would also retweet how Microsoft employees were celebrating the death of Charlie. He even retweeted it and added the CEO of Microsoft to it, which millions of people saw. Here's what Elon Musk tweeted, where he said, "What's going on here?" And then he tagged Satya Nadella, that's the CEO of Microsoft. Microsoft then responded to their Blizzard employees celebrating political violence by saying this on Twitter: "We are aware of the views expressed by a small subset of our employees regarding recent events. We take matters like this very seriously, and we are currently reviewing each individual situation. Comments celebrating violence against anyone are unacceptable and do not align with our values. So what's likely going to happen is that everybody that I reported on in my previous video at Blizzard will also lose their jobs too. Again, I don't want people to lose their jobs, but these people are being actual monsters about these things and think they can get away with it. What can you reasonably do when one side is so far gone, they're celebrating violence and then expecting you to buy their products and support them too? No longer. We're not doing this anymore. The rot has to be removed from the source, guys. Otherwise, this cancer will just grow again." What was funny was seeing Reddit spaces like r/GamingCircleJerk, which said this, by the way, let's read it now. "Do not post about Charlie Kirk. It will be removed on site. Support of him is a ban on sites. Glorification of violence violates site-wide rules and is a removal. Don't do it. We don't want the sub nuked, and neither do you." But as you can see below that, they had other mods chime in and get really angry, saying that they hate Charlie either way. So they're calling for a cease in political violence, only to then turn around in the same post and advocate for even more political violence. You can't make that up. Make it make sense. It doesn't. But it is funny that they're eating their own, which is what always tends to happen with these types, which is why it's so important to educate people on why these types act like this in the first place. It's simple, guys. No matter how radical you are, for people in games, you'll never be enough. They'll always want more of it. And it's always terrible to see. And once you don't give them what they want, they'll just throw you away or use you to get themselves even higher up the ladder. Look, I do want unity in the gaming space. I do, honestly. I've worked all of these years to remove this rot from games specifically because it has such a strong connection and through line to younger people. Young people, especially, by the way, are influenced by the content that they consume. Games are no different. And if the games being made are conditioning these people to become more vitriolic, hateful, and extremist, Yes, it needs to be uprooted at the source. And that's the reason why this is all happening, because the people in games are clearly not interested in playing nice. And it's backfiring on them spectacularly, as it should. We don't need every game to be far right or far left. We need games to just be escapism again. We need to go back to when games were made by diverse people of not just skin color, but most importantly, and this is key, thoughts and belief systems too. And when they aren't, you end up with what you have today. As for Tim Sweeney of Epic Games, I doubt he'll be fired or resigned. If anything, he'll just delete his comments or maybe he'll apologize. But I don't think Tim is necessarily right or left leaning myself. He comes off to me more so as someone who's instead just tired of all of the politics. But that being said, it's still puzzling to see a man of his stature not be able to read the room like this. So before I end this video, I want to make this clear. Anyone is welcome to watch my videos. Anyone is welcome to comment. This is not a place meant to be some echo chamber, despite what places like Kotaku or others try to say. Unlike them, I welcome diversity of thought, and more importantly, what I hope to instill upon every viewer is to simply try to come to terms with their common sense over their feelings right now. Stop acting on your feelings. Use your brains, people. Read things. Question everything you see. Try to look deeper. Don't just blindly accept things. I'm not telling you to reject everything that is gay or accept everything that is conservative. You need to be your own person. And you need to be able to look confidently at all these sides, assessing what they're doing and saying, and realize that this hate is going to get none of us anywhere. And that the game industry has to do the same. They are already losing to China big time when it comes to releases. And when you got devs now celebrating stuff like they are now, it's just going to get worse for snowstorm of events myself, but as always, thank you for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Oh boy, so this is a big one because of the severity of the issues. All right, we all know what happened with Charlie Kirk. I've been covering it now for 2 videos before this one, showing you an exhausting list of game developers that are open.
Thank you so much.
Has ended, which has now led to public outcry that these game studios must remove these game developers for advocating for political violence. There's really no other way of putting it. I will get into how the game industry has responded to that, but first we have to talk about the other huge, massive elephant in the room right now, which is Tim Sweeney. So if you somehow don't know who he is, Tim Sweeney is the CEO of Epic Games, the makers of Fortnite. And they also created and licensed out the Unreal Engine. You know, this engine.
Oh my gosh! Did you hear that? Oh
god! I honestly list them all because there's so many that use it. But I guess the most recent example of Unreal Engine is probably Borderlands 4 if you want an example. But anyways, Tim is a juggernaut in the games industry. He's a leading pioneer when it comes to forward thinking in games. He has also helped shape the monolith that has made video games the biggest entertainment in the world today. I am not in any way denying how important Tim Sweeney is to the very fabric of video games as a medium. However, it has come to my attention that Tim Sweeney has decided to throw his hat into the ring when it comes to Charlie Kirk. And it not only shows the hubris, but the lack of understanding that Tim seems to have on this situation. But please, do not harass Tim, do not dox him, do not attack him, don't do anything like that. However, I do want to discuss what he is saying and then try to come to an understanding here, because obviously, when you're the CEO of freaking Epic Games of all things, this is, well, not really good. But let's get into it. So Clemson University recently had to apologize after one of their professors decided to celebrate Charlie Kirk, passing away. And then Alan Wilson, who is a politician, pressured Clemson University about this, as you can see here on screen, that what was said by this professor was supporting political violence. Then, as seen here as well, Clemson University then made a public statement signifying that they are looking into this matter personally, and that they are deeply horrified by what one of their professors said about all of this. Okay, now that that's set up, this is when Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, comes into the picture. Tim would then reply to Clemson University by saying this: "What amendment says you can't diss someone?" Not seeing it here, and as it reads, the First Amendment, as he put on screen, "Congress shall make
Thank you so much.
An establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, of abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition petition the government for a redress of grievances. So basically, Tim Sweeney believes that Clemson University is in the wrong and that what the professor said about Charlie Kirk actually falls within the Constitution because you are allowed to, in Tim's words, diss someone. Tim obviously has been getting blowback from this and then responded by saying this: "My tweet isn't some veiled partisan political commentary. Clemson's statement is simply wrong about the Constitution, and a public university should know better. The Constitution and the right to vigorously criticize is supposed to be the constant through these times." While what Tim says is true that consistency is important, it's also clear that he has failed to understand the applied reasoning behind why what people are saying about Charlie differs from what he's saying. Let's say that Charlie died as in his sleep with no outside actions, okay? He just died naturally. If you were to say Charlie dying was good, it would be looked down upon, of course, but perhaps wouldn't be.
Okay, so guys, welcome back. Okay, so that was like, the CEO of Epic Games not understanding what actual hate speech is. The world is really weird, It's really weird. You have very successful people who is in, I guess you can say, in some kind of authority. They influence a big portion of an industry. For example, in this case, the gaming industry. But they're not very intelligent. Maybe they're good in business, analyzing business, forming business strategies, tactics. But when it comes to common sense, they're not very intelligent. For example, how is wishing death on somebody the same as criticizing somebody? It's not the same. Criticizing a game for being bad and wishing death on the developer of the game because the game is bad, those are two different things. And there are a lot of really successful people out there that just don't understand basic common sense. It's really mind-boggling, really weird. Wow. Okay, that's why I'm going to take all the free games that Epic Game Store gives me. I'm not going to buy any games from there, from their storefront. If you guys want to buy games in GOG. Steam is okay, but the problem with Steam is you're not buying the game, you are only licensing or renting the game. If you truly want to own the game, go to buy your games in GOG.com. The only problem with GOG is that it doesn't have a lot of games. Well, it does have a lot of games, but some games don't get released in GOG.com, and maybe it's because the publishers or the developers don't really want to give you a copy of the game without DRM. I was listening to that video from Endymion, and I wanted to share it to everyone because it's gaming related. It's not just political, it's gaming related. Because the Epic Games is, a lot of games are made with Epic Games, and here we have the CEO of Epic Games not understanding basic common sense. He doesn't truly understand what actual hate speech is. Yeah, I believe in the US, I could be wrong, hate speech, there are only 3 types of hate speech, and one of them is inciting violence, inciting violence towards another or someone else or a group of people, something like that. Calling someone fat is not hate speech. Okay, so we're back. Yeah, missing in action. Enslaved one. Just I'm going to hold off. I'm going to do this off stream because all these ladies are naked. I was able to save one Orion. Well, I guess if I stumble upon them because they are held in bandit camps. So if I stumble upon them because I did a mission or a quest to subjugate bandits, then I might just save them and I'll just, close the game, not close, but, turn off the display, then talk to them, give them something to wear, and lead them back. Also, I haven't completed this one because I still haven't found any of these other items here. The tomato one was easy because, hey, it's a tomato. It is a tomato. I haven't done the steward quest, but I think this quest is more like a marker where you can find the, what do you call this? The stewards for the mod clean up your corpses. Should I do this? Yeah, this is a if I do this, this is quite a long one. Okay, how about this one? Let's destroy the vampire Vigar.
Be careful.
Okay, we'll have to travel to Helgen. I'm not sure if there is a way here. Maybe. It may look like you can climb up here. See? It is it looks like there's a path here. Then you can just go here. But sometimes that is not real. And of course, I'm showing doing a shameless advertisement of my own creations or designs for for shirts, gaming related designs. You'll see it whenever I stop talking. Link, by the way, is in the description of the video. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to try though. I do enjoy traveling off-road. But, yep, there's no way. You can't climb here. Well, I can turn off, turn off collision.
Speak.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that is too steep. Yeah, that is too steep. Yeah, there is no way I could climb this. Maybe if I had a horse. Because horses in Skyrim can climb hillsides or mountainsides. It doesn't matter if it's steep. Anyway. Ooh, there's a, what is that? A carriage. It got stuck. Oh my goodness. What happened here? There is some kind of accident. Anyway, I can't really do anything for them. Because I have my own problems. Also, I bought the dwarven equipment back in Solitude. Not Solitude, Whiterun. So I'm focusing on one weapon. My character can do that. I can do that on my character because I have Toccata and I have Amelie. Toccata will deal with the healing. Amelie is more of a backup. She's like a clown. Adding the carts or the carriage made Skyrim more feel lived in. So you won't just see travelers, people traveling.
Almost as well as
You'll also see carts or carriages transporting people, transporting goods.
What can I do for you?
No wonder he was running. The guy's name is Escaped Prisoner. Oh, my character's ass is there's some blood on it. Oh, look at that, another carriage exiting Helgen. So you can see Helgen is not yet in ruins. This is Helgen before Alduin. And that is the reason why I switched from alternate start to alternative perspective or alternate perspectives. Yeah, how do I get here? That's the question. Maybe I need to install quality world maps again. I don't think it has been updated. That's why I have it. It's not active because it hasn't been updated. Okay, I need to climb up more. Climb up more. With the quality world map, roads are also on the world map. So finding your way is more convenient. So this backpack is also in the legendary edition, but it's much smaller. There is a small version and a big version of the backpack.
Are you finished ogling the grotesque? I suppose I should be grateful you didn't simply attack me.
Okay, here we are.
They're pale and kind of mysterious. I guess I can see it, sort of.
Okay, so as always, I'm just going to, force my way in. No strategy, just hack and slash until everyone is dead. And hope that Toccata will heal my character.
Wow, that's impressive.
Oh, this one is silver ore. I thought it was iron ore. Okay, so I guess that one is just a statue. Okay, now we have to go back and tell Danjir that Vignar is dead. Okay. His secret is safe. Wrong way. Okay, again, going the wrong way. Am I really going the wrong way? Let's see. Yeah, this is the right way, I think. I need to find where the road is. It's all white. Okay, I found the path. I just need to find the main road so I could go back to Polfit. I think I'm already on the main road. I see cobblestones. Usually the main road has cobblestones, while the minor roads or paths are just dirt. I could also be wrong. Ooh, look at that, main road. Oh no, it's just grass. Sorry. This, the main road. I was right.
Hmm?
Okay, going off-road because, yeah, Falkreath is just down there.
You're not as dumb as you look. My family thanks you. Take this as a token of our gratitude. Aye, not so. Truth is, I found out about all the Imperial spies crawling around Falkreath. A few well-placed bribes, and they bought themselves some friends. Suddenly, the nobles are calling for a new Jarl. And all the while, their pockets are jingling with They named me Thane. They got my nephew Sitgeir in my place. A real friend to Cyrodiil, that one.
Okay, where could this be? Oh my goodness. It's right there. Okay, I'll have to travel back to Falkreath. Okay, so I think I misspoke. I'll have to travel back to Helgen, not Falkreath. I'm already in Falkreath.
Trouble?
No trouble. Trouble. Is dropping. There's no one here. There's just my character and 2 followers. Too much grass. There's too much grass. A dead bear.
Don't suppose you'd enchant my sword. Dull old blade can barely cut butter. Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll.
Okay, after defeating the vampire for Dengier, I'm going to collect rules journal for the millionth time. There's a big wall of ice, which means that is not the correct or the right way to go there. Okay, let's clear this place. They made a mistake. So we weren't, my party, we were not after them, but because they attacked, now they're dead. Okay, let's go back to our own business. Yeah. We don't have any business with the bandits anymore. They're dead. I think Microsoft is doing some kind of scan, because whenever that happens, the game I'm playing always lags. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, Toccata.
We must show these warlocks the error of their ways. We must make them.
Hey, Toccata, you need to heal me.
I'm just not sure how.
Toccata is not healing me.
Please cut me down. Thanks for getting me out of that. Bashnag's coven chased me out and left me for dead down here. Nobody lasts too long with the spiders. Please, will you help me get out of here? If the coast is clear, I'll make a break for it. Please, someone do something. I won't be myself for some time. I just need to get out of here and recover. Bashnag's circle of mages. Well, they live here. They made it pretty clear that I'm no longer welcome. I am, and I don't want to hear your moral judgments about it either. I wouldn't have had to study in secret in the old days. I won't be myself for some time. I just need to get out of here and recover. These are no dainty college mages. They're good company. If you want to study necromancy in peace, though. My daughter was sent to the orphanage there when I stood accused of illegal necromancy. I had no choice. Run or die. I joined with Bashnag then, but I thought of Savella only she was gone. Shipped away to another orphanage or adopted. I'm feeling better. But Bashnag's curse won't wear off for weeks. Bashnag cursed me. I can't cast a spell to save my life right now. I'll have to wait until the way out is safe. Please, let me know if it seems safe to leave. I'm feeling better, but Bashnag's curse won't wear off for weeks. Please, someone do something.
Okay, so I'm getting a lot of money here. Whoa, ancient Nord armor. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can. Ooh, look at that. You can disenchant this.
you doing that? I'm feeling better. But Bashnag's curse won't wear off for weeks. Bashnag cursed me. Thank you. When I find my daughter, it will be thanks to you.
Okay, so now heading back to Fall Creek. Maybe we can just jump down this mountain. See, heading down is a lot easier than climbing up. Yeah, for obvious reasons. Okay, so I guess Falkreath is on the other side of this hill again. So many hills. Okay, let's check. Maybe I can climb up and then just fall down. It looks dangerous. Dangerous. Whoa, look at that. I can see the floating islands. White one is over there. I'm not sure if doing that got me here faster than just following the road. But it was a lot more exciting because there's a chance of falling. I'm not sure if there is a mod that adds climbing animation in Skyrim.
Don't suppose you'd enchant my sword? Dull old blade can barely cut butter.
Be quick about it.
Ghost is responsible for the cemetery here in Falkreath. Thank you. It's a collection of regrets that I try not to forget. Here, I promised you this. Of course. It's all in this note.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Okay, so that's it for this one. Going to continue. Next thing I'll do is talk to the Jarl of Falkreath to become again a Thane in Falkreath. I always start becoming a Thane in Falkreath. I've already completed all becoming. I've already completed, or I've already become my characters. Not me, of course. I'm just a guy sitting in front of a computer playing the game. I've had characters completed becoming a Thane in all the holds. It's not a hard thing to do. Okay, so as always, guys, thank you for watching. Go and check if there are any messages in chat. Usually there's none, but sometimes when I don't check, then I'll check later after the stream, and I will see some messages there. Again, most of the time there are none, but let's see if there are any. Okay, so we have chat in Twitch from Wisebot. Twitch from Wisebot. Okay, so overall, yep, I checked all the platforms, opened the windows, and yep, did not see any chat messages there. Again, guys, thank you for watching. If you were watching and you enjoyed watching the stream and you want to see more, subscribe to the channel in YouTube, follow the channel in Rumble, Kick, Twitch, and D Live, and see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.